Kael began building an army with little more than determination and the fire of rebellion burning in his heart. His first steps were small, quiet movements across the lands, whispers of his defiance spreading like sparks in dry grass. He sought out the disillusioned, the broken, and the abandoned, knowing that their hatred for Zeus could be forged into a weapon. His search led him to the outskirts of a ruined city, where he found Damis, a grizzled warrior who bore scars as deep as his resentment for the gods. Damis was tending to a group of wounded mortals when Kael approached, his presence as commanding as the sword strapped to his back. "You're Kael," Damis said, straightening up. His voice was rough, his eyes filled with a cautious curiosity. "The one who dared to challenge Zeus." Kael nodded. "And I'm not finished. I need fighters. Men and women who are tired of being pawns in Zeus's games." Damis studied him for a moment before letting out a bitter laugh. "You're either brave or suicidal. But maybe that's what we need. I'll join you, on one condition." "What's that?" Damis pointed to the wounded. "You don't just fight for revenge. You fight for them, for the people Zeus has forgotten." Kael's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "That's the plan." With Damis's help, Kael began recruiting mortals willing to risk everything for freedom. Their numbers grew steadily, though each new recruit brought stories of loss and suffering that fueled their collective rage. But Kael knew that mortals alone would not be enough to stand against Zeus's forces. He turned his sights to the demigods, children of gods and mortals who had been abandoned by their divine parents. They were powerful but bitter, their loyalty torn between two worlds. Kael found them in isolated villages, wandering the wilderness, or hiding from Zeus's wrath. Among them was Lyra, a daughter of Poseidon with a gift for controlling water. Lyra was skeptical at first. "You think a mortal-led army can take down Olympus?" she asked, crossing her arms. "I don't think it." "I know it," Kael replied, his voice firm. "With your help, we'll show the gods that their time is over." Lyra's lips curled into a smirk. "You've got guts, I'll give you that." "Fine. I'm in." As the army grew, Kael sought a greater ally, one who could tip the scales in their favor. He traveled to a secluded glade where Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, was said to reside. When he found her, she was clad in silver armor, her expression calm but wary. "You're bold to come here," Athena said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "What do you want, Kael?" "I need your guidance," he said without hesitation. "You've seen the damage Zeus has done. Help me end his reign." Athena raised an eyebrow. "And why should I betray my king?" "Because you know it's the right thing to do," Kael replied. "You're a goddess of wisdom. You see what Zeus is doing, he's tearing this world apart. Join us, and we can stop him." For a moment, Athena said nothing, her piercing gaze studying him. Then, a faint smile crossed her lips. "You have conviction, Kael. That's rare, even among gods. I will help you, but only in secret. If Zeus discovers my involvement, it will mean war on a scale you cannot imagine." With Athena's strategic mind guiding them, Kael's army became a force to be reckoned with. They trained tirelessly in hidden camps, honing their skills and preparing for the battles ahead. The air buzzed with the energy of hope and defiance, but Kael remained wary. Not everyone could be trusted. During a crucial strategy meeting, Kael gathered his closest allies around a roaring fire. Maps were spread out before them, marked with potential targets. The group debated their next move, their voices overlapping as ideas clashed. Among them was Lyros, a demigod whose charm and cunning had earned him a place at Kael's side. Lyros often had the sharpest insights, but there was an edge to him that Kael couldn't ignore. That night, after the meeting had ended and the camp had gone quiet, Lyros made his move. Driven by fear and promises of clemency from Zeus, he slipped away and revealed the location of the camp to the enemy. The attack came at dawn. Zeus's forces descended upon the camp with a fury that shook the earth. Warriors scrambled to defend themselves as fire engulfed their tents and the clash of steel echoed across the valley. Kael fought savagely, his twin blades slicing through the enemy ranks. Blood and sweat dripped from his body as he roared orders, rallying his soldiers amidst the chaos. But no matter how fiercely they fought, they were overwhelmed. In the heat of battle, Kael's eyes locked onto Lyros, who was attempting to slip away unnoticed. Rage consumed him, and he charged toward the traitor. Lyros. Kael's voice cut through the din, freezing the demigod in his tracks. Lyros turned, his face pale. Kael, you sold us out, Kael growled, his voice low and dangerous. How many lives did you condemn for your cowardice? Lyros stumbled back, his hands raised in a feeble attempt at defense. I didn't have a choice. Zeus would have killed me. Kael's grip on his blade tightened. And now, I'll make sure you never betray anyone again. Without hesitation, Kael drove his blade into Lyros's chest. The traitor's lifeless body crumpled to the ground as the battle raged on around them. Kael turned to the survivors, his expression hard and unyielding. Let this be a lesson, he said, his voice echoing across the battlefield. Betrayal will not be forgiven. The cost of the ambush was heavy. Many of Kael's allies had fallen, and the survivors bore wounds that ran deeper than flesh. But even in the face of such loss, Kael's resolve burned brighter than ever. This was only the beginning. Like, share, comment, follow or subscribe for Part 6. The Siege of Mount Olympus.